and she's confused, it doesn't sound as coherent, and it's too bad. I can tell that's what she's doing here, that's kind of off the cuff. I used to compete in high school in extemporaneous speaking, and that's what some people would sound like. They would have, they had some things they wanted to cover, and they would try to build a bridge between the two, but they weren't really sure how, and so they would rely more on making sure they hit the points that they wanted to hit. And the reason why I find it so disappointing is because I think Palin has this extraordinary talent, but it's not nourished. And so instead of being the full influence that she could be, she's settled for something less. Now, I don't blame her. She's got busy, she's got her family issues. She's got friends. She's got a life. She's been treated unfairly at times and overly graciously at other times. She's been treated unfairly by the broader media and probably overly graciously by the conservative media at different times. But that said, it's just that when you see somebody with all this potential, you want them to be as great as they can be. And I've never felt like Palin quite did that. But like I said, if I was offered the paychecks that she was versus, what are your odds of becoming president, or what are your odds of running for X, Y, or Z, who knows? I don't know where I'd fall. I'm not in her shoes. But it's also clear to me she's not running for president, or she would be sharpening her skills. She would be trying to focus on being taken seriously. Instead of, I viewed her speech more like Donald Trump. She's promoting the television show. She's promoting the business of Trump, the business of Palin. They're promoting themselves, and that's okay. They bring in the people. They inspire their own rank and file to a certain extent. Scott Walker, however, is planning on running.
In my state, we can hire based on merit. We can pay based on performance. That means we can put the best and the brightest in our classrooms, and we can pay them to stay there. And you know what? As conservatives, we shouldn't take a back seat when it comes to education reform, because we actually care about the quality of the education in our classroom, not the size of the education bureaucracy. We should back away from that.
And people were most shocked by Walker because usually he comes across like Ben Stein with a very even keel, kind of monotone, no emotion, or at least that's the stereotype of Walker. Instead, he was out there and he was fired up and ready to go, showing a certain fire in the belly, suggesting very strongly that he is going to be running for president. And people were their ears perked up and they were listening because he's not Mitt Romney, he's not Jeb Bush, but he appeals across the spectrum of the party. So Scott Walker was establishing himself over the weekend. By the way, I should point out at the Roanoke gathering of Washington state conservatives, it was Scott Walker who handily walked away with the presidential straw poll. Now, of course, it's not like it's representative of all of Washington state voters by any stretch, but it does represent a certain concentration of Republican activists in the state, and Walker came through with about 37% of the vote. The second place was a write-in, which was surprising. That was Condoleezza Rice. Third place was a tie between Mitt Romney and Bobby Jindal at the Roanoke convention. Now, Ted Cruz, also at the Iowa Summit, also establishing himself, if not as a presidential contender, certainly as a gatekeeper of sorts.
If you say you'll stand up to the Washington establishment, the career politicians of both parties that have gotten us in this mess, show me where you stood up and fought.
Now, what does he mean by show me? What does he mean by that? He repeats himself. I'll play the second round of that cut coming up. And we'll talk about what he means by show me. Plus, Iowa's John Kasich, Governor Kasich, was on Fox News Sunday. He's also making a multi-state tour, clearly flirting with the presidency. We'll take a look at that. Plus, I'll tell you about my embarrassing weekend. That's coming up. Right now, it's a check on traffic with Harmon Shea.
We've cleared up some problems. 405, first of all, good news from the Bottle-Woodinville Highway, where we have not only the accident, the carpool lane cleared for the southbound traffic, but also the ramp accident, or stall there. Car that's stalled in the ramp partially blocked the ramp to southbound 405 from 522. They're both gone. Backup's getting a little bit better as we go here. Not much light against the Bottle-Woodinville Highway, though. That's going to take a little bit longer. And it looks like like we're sitting with about a 40-minute commute still from Renton to Bellevue. That's been a tough one this
Washington
morning.
924, young boy, Ida.
I-5 about an hour and 5 minutes, let's say maybe that, getting down from Everett to Seattle. And by far the backup is mostly from Linwood on down. And the floating bridge is getting more difficult now. Backups developing eastbound on 520, not so much on I-90. And westbound on both bridges, not much on 520, but I-90 is still taking about 32, 33 minutes to get from Mississauga to downtown Seattle. This report brought to you by Subway. At Subway, experience the bracer taste of new grilled chicken strips. Try them on a sweet onion chicken teriyaki or chicken and bacon ranch melt. Subway, eat fresh. That's your traffic update on AM 770 KTTH.
So you want to go ahead?
Senator Rubio says it wants to tax $360 billion more he wants to take away from so-called rich people and banks and use that money for stuff like free community college. What's wrong with that?
Copy. You should have left for the VIN 5439.
Great. It's not just enough to graduate school. You have to graduate with the right skills in order to have a job in 21st century.
Noon to 3 on
Copy. If you continue this call to a carjacking, it looks like the suspect abandoned this car, or that car, the Honda here, and then robbed the victim.
He came out the next day and did the install for me. The technician, Len, was running early and called to make sure that I could be there early as well. He was very professional, no issues whatsoever, and we're happy to have hot water again.
Another great experience from another happy customer. If you have a water heater need, find out more at WashingtonWaterHeaters.com. That's WashingtonWaterHeaters.com. Or call 800-978-8588.
1-800-GOT-JUNK is in the weight loss business.
Really? What?
We help you lose hundreds of pounds of junk.
Oh.
When all that junk is out of the way, you'll feel like you're walking on air, light as a feather, singing with the angels, sparkling in the sun. And all you had to do was point. That's great. That finger of yours is magic. Whoa. You point at junk, and it disappears. 1-800-GOT-JUNK is a full-service junk removal company. We do everything. All you have to do is answer the door and point that magic finger. We'll do the rest. Crawl through the attic, the basement, the storage room, the shed. You'll lose hundreds of pounds of junk for just a tiny little bit of money. That's awesome. Our trucks are in your street right now. And
Are we ready to have that verified?
goodbye. Junk. Hello,
You can verify that one and start October.
1-800-GOT-JUNK.com. Magic finger.
You've tried drugs, physical therapy, chiropractic, and epidural injections just to discover it did not relieve your back pain. Now surgery is next on your list. I'm Dr. Richard Leone. I'm a chiropractor with the Back and Joint Pain Institute. I've seen these classic symptoms thousands of times. This is Craig talking about his experience with the Leone method.
I've been dealing with pain forever, and it got worse and worse and worse. I was literally in so much pain and so much misery. I was grouchy every day. I tried to smile. It's really hard when all you are is in constant pain. You can't stand, you can't sit, you can't do anything but think about your back. And I don't live like that anymore, Dr. Leone. I have a little granddaughter. She's 4 years old. I have not been able to, bend over and pick up my granddaughter. I can do it now. It's changed my life.
As with Craig, surgery is not your only option. Visit stopsurgery.com or call 253-336-8300. That's stopsurgery.com or 253-336-8300.
This is Don Creech. Are you sick and tired and your investment advisor telling you to be patient? Would you be happy making 9% on your investment? What if your friend was making 30%? Would 9% be okay if your friends were making only 2%? In investing, everything is relative. Find out how to bring focus and clarity to your portfolio. Find out how to manage risk and increase return potential. Tune in to Investor Resources on Saturday afternoon at 2.
Right here on AM 770 KTTH.
The Emerald Queen Casino welcomes Hall of Fame legend, Friday, March 6th, the amazing Smokey Robinson. Tickets for the blue-eyed soul of Smokey Robinson, now at Ticketmaster or the Emerald Queen Casino. The Motown genius of Smokey Robinson, Friday, March 6th, exclusively at the Emerald Queen Casino, the entertainment capital of the Northwest.
Your online home for conservative news and exclusive podcasts. KTTH.com, powered by Robin Adelson with Berkshire Hathaway Real Estate.
If you say you'll stand up to the Washington establishment, establishment, the career politicians of both parties that have gotten us in this mess, show me where you stood up and fought.
So Ted Cruz is asking, hey, show me your qualifications. And in a way, what he's doing is trying to position himself as he's the arbiter of who has the conservative credentials. In other words, did you stand with me? It's a way of saying, show me, and when you do, by my definition of what conservative credentials are, it's really a way of highlighting that I'm the one that Iowa and other Republicans should be looking for. Here's the other cut where he's asking people, hey, look at me, let's find out who these people are and what their conservative credentials are and how they can manifest them to us.
You have a responsibility that you take very seriously to scrutinize any candidate for national office, to look them in the eyes and to hold them to account. I got to say, a lot of people have the reaction, I don't trust politicians. And that's worth applauding, because I agree with it. You know, in a Republican primary, every candidate's going to come in front of you and say, I'm the most conservative guy to ever live. Gosh darn it, who diddly, I'm conservative. Well, you know what? Talk is cheap. The word tells us you shall know them by their fruit. One of the most important roles that the men and women in this room, the men and women in Iowa will play is to look each candidate in the eye and say, don't talk, show me.
But of course, one of the arguments against Cruz could be, well, what was the fruit of the shutdown? Did you win anything with it? And I know some argue, hey, wait, year and a half later when the midterm elections were coming up, or year and 3/4 later, well, that's proof that Cruz was right. I don't find that's absurd. Nobody believes that the memories of the broad spectrum of American voters are that good. That did not rank real high. As a matter of fact, the poll numbers were going down. So the question was, what were you winning? What could you do? It's not just what did you try to do, but were you able to lead effectively and accomplish something? That should be a part of that assessment. But Cruz was very inspiring to a number of people at the Iowa gathering. Now, there were some in the media, Cokie Roberts specifically, was on NPR and ABC, and she was saying that Republicans should avoid Iowa altogether.
I think Republicans should stay out of Iowa altogether.
Yeah.
I mean, what happens to them is that they get pushed so far to the right. And
this is, by the way, this is one of those favorite kinds of things where you've got a couple of Democrats talking about how the Republicans should approach their base. And they're saying, let's stay away from those people. By our definition, they're just crazy people. So they're, again, positioning themselves as who gets to decide. Their own views, they've decided right offhand are moderate, and they're actually on the left. But because they've repositioned themselves and view themselves as moderate, they've defined what's on the left as the rational. Well, then it allows you to dismiss anybody who disagrees with you then as the far right. Anyone who's to the right of you, to the point of being a Republican, is going to be part of the crazies. So, again, I'll restart the cut.
I think Republicans should stay out of Iowa altogether.
Yeah.
I mean, what happens to them is that they get pushed so far to the right, and those it gives them a terrible time running the poll, and it hurts them all. And by the way, King, who hosted this, is absolutely toxic in his family.
Copy, and the vehicle's missing one front plate.
Republicans get that vote. They shouldn't be showing up at a Steve King event.
Here's what strikes me. First of all, it might be true that King is toxic amongst some voters. Talking with different voters, I don't know why we've reached this point where around avoiding talking with certain people. I say, go and speak to the different voters, but be who you really are at each stop. So I don't think that going to Iowa and going to this Steve King thing, he can say whatever he wants, he can hate all he wants. Remember, Rudy Giuliani thought he was too liberal for Iowa, and he decided the strategy was, we'll start our campaign in Florida. but by the time they got to Florida, he was wiped off the face of the map. I mean, it was just done because he had lost attention, lost focus, and he didn't seem like he was in the race because he just waited for Florida. If he had competed, let's say he got third place in Iowa, or even fourth place in Iowa, and then he got, third place or second place somewhere else because of other split votes, he'd be doing fine. But he didn't. So if somebody goes ahead and repositions themselves and tries to make themselves out to be more conservative than they are, tries to placate a certain crowd, that can cause problems for them. But I think that that's more of a problem of authenticity than just the fact that you're speaking before a certain audience. Ohio's Governor John Kasich has been making the rounds of a number of states, putting out his message that Ohio is in the midst of a great recovery thanks to his leadership. But he's also been saying things that have some conservatives concerned about his conservative credentials.
We're 18 trillion and we keep fiddling. We're going to be at 30 trillion. We're fiddling around while Rome burns. Now, of course, any kind of an amendment can have appropriate exceptions. Economic calamity, war. But the fact is, most of the time when you keep doing things that we don't do in the States and families don't do, which is spending without regard, we are mortgaging our children's future. This is not a new thing for me. I have been pushing this since I was 27 years old, and I'm going to keep pushing it. Presidents come and presidents go, but changing the culture in Washington and locking in a balanced budget amendment will provide for economic growth today and a hope for our children tomorrow.
But it's stuff like that that make Kasich a legitimate contender. What has some worried is his comments regarding our obligations. He specifically cites his faith and Scripture, saying that we've got to take care of people. Not that Republicans oppose that necessarily, but oftentimes that's code for we need more government. Kasich's response is, hey, I've been slashing government and getting surpluses in Ohio and big job creation, so anyone who wants to attack me, go ahead. Bring it on, so to speak. So, 2016, here it is, 2015, barely. We're in the first month, toward the end, and already things heating up big time. Speaking of heating up, Super Bowl week, and we have multiple controversies. We've got Marshawn Lynch under attack by the NFL, and even George Will weighing in. We'll share that with you coming up right now. It's a check on traffic with Armin Shea.
Well, the situation continues through up on 405, and that got to be a pretty long commute between Everett and Bellevue. You got up to about 80 minutes for a while. It's settled down to more like an hour now, but you're still going to be awfully slow coming off the Buffalo Highway going through Dotem Lake down into Kirkland. But the accidents we had there, and we had several of them earlier along that whole stretch, and a stalled vehicle on one of the ramps, those have all been cleared. Kind of worried about the floating bridge at I-90 slowing most of the way from 405 into downtown Seattle westbound. Eastbound may have sunshine slow down. That starts on the floating bridge, runs across a lot of Mercer Island, and over on 520 we have some backup both ways, but it's not quite as bad as I-90. Probably lose about 7 or 8 minutes in either one going east or west. This report brought to you by Subway. At Subway, experience the breakthrough taste of new grilled chicken strips. Try them on a sweet onion chicken teriyaki or chicken and bacon ranch melt. Subway, eat fresh. That's your traffic update on AM 770 KTTH.
You've tried drugs, physical therapy, and injections, only to discover it didn't work to resolve your back pain. Now, surgery. You have another option. Join Dr. Richard Leone, chiropractor from the Back and Joint Pain Institute, right here on AM 770 KTTH each Sunday at 3 p.m. for the Leone Method. High success rate, no side effects. Back pain? Tune in this Sunday at 3 p.m. or download episodes of the Leone Method at KTTH.com.
Hey, Don here. Why wouldn't you want to transform the look and feel of your entire home for thousands less than a remodel? With new window coverings from Major Blinds and Awnings. Call 1-800-411-SHADE for your free in-home Major Blinds consultation. That's 1-800-411-SHADE.
I'm thrilled to Breakthrough Natural Peptide is proven to quickly reduce puffiness and bags under your eyes. This incredible peptide, it's been shown to work in clinical studies at about 1 concentration. Well, Genucel from Chamonix, they use double that effective concentration to get rid of the puffiness in the bags under your eyes. Genucel also uses plant stem cell extract clinically shown to reduce inflammation and defy aging of the skin. That's a 1-2 punch to those stubborn bags under your eyes. And here's what I can tell you. You know, I don't know the science that well, but I can tell you that it works because I use Genucel. My wife uses Genucel. My mom uses Genucel. I'm recommending it to everybody. Order Genucel right now, 800-543-5835. Genucel uses an all-natural base, no pharmaceutical preservatives, no petroleum byproducts. With its instant effects, you'll see Genucel working in 12 hours. Order Genucel right now at the legendary SOTICA Collagen Builder absolutely free with your order. You'll see Genucel work guaranteed or your money back. That's 800-543-5835, 800-543-5835.
Donate your car to Cars for Kids. Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS today. Or go to carsforkids.com to schedule a free pickup of your car and make a difference in the life of a child. That's 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS or carsforkids.com.
Are you tired of paying high fees even when you lose your money? Join Sean Peel for Safe Money and Income Radio on AM 770 KTTH, Saturdays at 4 p.m. and Sundays at 10 a.m. Sean will suggest an alternative through his comprehensive retirement planning. You can also call Sean now for your complimentary Safe Money and Income Kit at 855-340-7233. That's 855-340-7233.
We care about values here.
Ben Shapiro.
Because values are at the basis of American greatness. The minute we step away from our true values, we lose America. And so we're going to be looking at the values angle to every single story, because every story does have a value angle. We're going to dig in under the surface and give you the real story about what's happening in your world.
The Ben Shapiro Show, weekday afternoon from 3 to 6 on AM 770 KTTH.
Check on traffic, Harmon Shea. We now know more about the situation in San Juan, where what happened was the ferry Yakima just broke down, and it's tying up the flippant orchids, so they can't have any sailings from orchids right now. And they're talking about not having an 8:55 sailing from Anacortes to Friday Harbor and 10:30 sailing from Primary Harbor and Anacortes, which may take a while. Northwest South Carolina, August, the Yakima broke down. We had next there in Egypt. San Juan.
Call for parking enforcement 127-4435 North. Policy 6 says vehicle in a posted no parking on a yellow Toyota pickup with a camper top. 127-4435 North. 35 North? 35.
Well, I'm clearing this off. I don't see anybody.